case first. It's State versus Shayna Marie Blackshire. This is the date and time set for sentencing.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Caleb Blackner on behalf of the state. The victims are here as well, Your Honor.
Thank you. And this is in case numbers 22-209 and 23-005. All right. So I understand we're trying to work.
This is obvious, but I'll just mention it because I've been doing this a long time. The victims being there puts a lot of pressure on the court to get whatever business they have done today, because these people have taken time out of their day to come down here, and they're victims of a crime. So you don't want to send them home and say, oh, you know, she can't behave. You want to complete the business.
This out, but she's not here, right?
No, she's not, Your Honor.
All right. Who's here? Who's appearing from the state? Is Ms. Hunley appearing remotely, or are you covering?
No, I'm appearing, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. I thought we were doing this first because she. So.
I'm here also, Your Honor, but I was actually present for the Aguilar Chavez matter.
Okay, I think that was Ms. Hunley is also present, who's permitted to appear remotely with the court's permission. Counsel for the state, the defendant's not here. She's refusing once again to come up. I've instructed the jail and detention to bring her up. We got a message during the lunch hour that the jail detention wants me to issue some kind of order to bring her up. I don't know what they're talking about. She's on the calendar. That's the order to bring her. But they want some other kind of order from me, and I don't know what they're talking about. Do you have any information on that, either Ms. Hunley or Mr. Wagner?
I don't have any information on that, Your Honor, and I would agree with your assessment that she's on the calendar and she must appear today.
Thank you. And Ms. Hunley? And I should note for the record that the law requires the defendant to be here in person for sentencing purposes, and that's why I've ordered that she be brought here for sentencing. But Ms. Hunley, do you have any additional information?
I don't, Judge. They generally call me to tell me that they're having an issue, but I didn't get a call today asking. I know that they made that same request during the trial when she refused to come, and we were discussing whether we were going to have her involuntarily brought to the courtroom. So I'm not really sure if that means she's refusing to come or what that means.
He's refusing to come, and you know, which was not unanticipated, but I don't know what kind of order they're expecting me to execute. I've ordered that she be here for sentencing. She's on the calendar. I'm not going to draft orders that go into any specifics about how they should bring her up. That's not my job to do. I mean, I don't advise the jail or issue orders to the jail about how to designate their prisoners or what kind of medical treatment they should get or how they should be fed or what happens to their mail. So my position is that's the issue, and for the persons who are delegated that responsibility to figure out how to bring her up here. But anyway, I haven't had a chance to discuss it with them, and I'm not sure if it's even appropriate for me to do that. I think it's county attorney. I understand you hadn't been informed, but you are now, and maybe you need to consult with the jail about what it's going to take to bring this prisoner in so she can be present personally for sentencing. I don't know what else to do.
I'm happy
yes, sir.
to call
Your Honor, yeah, it's because we were told by our supervisor we were going to bring her until we told our supervisor that she didn't want to come. So our supervisor told us to get an order from you, and it's when all that.
No, I'm not blaming you. You're just the messengers here, yeah. And I haven't talked to your supervisor. Here's Officer Parra, but I mean, I don't.
We can bring her like in 10 minutes. We can bring her for. We can have her.
The judge calls the case, but the defendant refuses to come to court. Jail staff say she won't cooperate and want permission to use force. Now the whole courtroom is stuck waiting.
Here like in 10 minutes.
What's going on? All right, I mean.
So I was talking to my sergeant right now. He said that I can bring her up here, but if she's here in the holding cells and she doesn't want to come out, he says that you have to state on the record that you're ordering us to forcefully bring her out. We can forcibly bring her up here to the holding cells, but bring her out here to present herself in court, it's all depending on what you say on record.
All right. Well, I don't think it's good practice for us to be hashing this out here in open court. And so, and I've never been in this situation before. I think I know the answer, but I don't intend to hash this out in court with jail a detention officer. So I think we should continue the matter and have the county attorney consult with the jail. I mean, you're the legal advisors and advise the court about what you think the appropriate course of action should be. I'm sorry. Yes, Ms. Hunley?
I apologize, Your Honor. I'm happy to tell them to bring her up now. I think that I'm not sure why they believe they need an order from the court on that, but I'm happy to talk to the jail commander and the supervisor, Ms. Pata's supervisor, and let them know that they just need to bring her.
Well,
and we can have her up there in 10 minutes.
Well, we can. I don't want to bring her up here until there's an approved plan in place that everyone agrees to, because that's just moving the problem, closer to the court. But I think we need to have a clear plan in place. And so why don't we pass the matter? If you want to try to talk to them in the interim, I understand the victims are here and they want to participate in the sentencing, and I think they're sometimes come in from out of town or from other parts unknown. So,
Your Honor,
I'd like to respect that, but yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. But,
Sorry.
So what my commander told me is, as long as you say that you want her up here, we can bring her up here. You don't need an order. You just need to say that you want her in here now. Is what he told me.
I think they're just trying to be respectful of the court, Your Honor. They didn't want to bring her in with force if the court wasn't aware that that's what we were doing. I think that's all. They were just trying to make sure they had your permission before they did that in your courtroom.
Well, I'm not going to do anything now. Ms. Hunley, if you have the wherewithal and to have some communication with them while we're here in the law and motion calendar, then we can revisit the situation later in the calendar. But I'd like to know exactly, kind of make sure everyone's exactly on the same page before I bring her up here to the holding cell. So we'll pass the matter. We'll look at it again in 45 minutes, an hour, and Ms. Hunley, you can send Mr. Wagner or something, a text or a message saying you're ready to go back on the record in this case, and we'll recall the case. Okay?
Sounds good. Thank you, Judge. Yep.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, so we'll pass these matters for now for the reasons stated.
Oh, good Lord. Bureaucracy at its best. I do understand what's going on here. There's a separation of powers issue, frankly. I think the judge is being a little too uptight about it. We're making a mountain out of a molehill. I agree with him in substance, but just say, yes, bring him up here. Bring her up here. It's her date for sentencing. That is what I want. And I'm aware that that she might be combative. But nonetheless, I've got victims here. Bring her on in. That's all that needs to happen here. Oh, and don't worry, it gets worse.
Officer Parra, I thought I heard Ms. Blackshire's voice. Is she here?
No, it's another inmate. We're planning on going.
She must be present for sentencing. Jail staff hesitate, asking for a clear order before forcing her. A simple situation turns into pure bureaucracy chaos.
We already got the okay from my commander to bring her up here, but we're waiting.
Okay, I thought I'm glad she's not here. That's what I wanted. Well, I mean, because before we discussed the matter, right. Were you dealing with this? Were you dealing with something else out there?
I was dealing with something else, but I'm also in touch with Ms. Hunley. I'm prepared to discuss Blackshire if you're ready, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll recall the Blackshire case.
And Your Honor, Kim Hunley is still present as well.
All right, now, all right, so where are we? All right, well, let me ask you this. My preference is to discuss this, on the record, because I just think everything ought to be in open court on the record, but I don't want to get into anything with the jail, that can be dealt with, can be better dealt with in private.
I don't think there's, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I don't think there's any kind of disagreement. I think the jail is prepared to bring her in the restraint chair if that's what the court would like. We just want to make sure that that's the court's request before we do that, just because we didn't want to disturb your courtroom.
Mr. McEwen, you're here, you're advisory counsel. Have you had any contact with your client that might help us decide what we need to do here?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. J.T. McEwen, advisory counsel to Ms. Blackshire. Your Honor, I went by the jail in person on March 20th, Your Honor, and I regret to inform you that I don't have any contact because she refused to see me.
All right. Well, thank you then. So
There's that.
let's pass this matter towards the end of the calendar and see what we can do. Now,
Would you
just
like
to be
us
clear
to
on
bring her
that,
in the?
well, I'm not going to. Are they going to? Is the jail going to expect me to order some specific methodology for bringing her into the courtroom?
No, Your Honor.
I don't think so, Judge. It's just that as we discussed previously, we were taking direction from the court in terms of, did you want us to force her into the courtroom? Did you not want us to force her into the courtroom? So I think they were just following what our protocol has been in the case all along, just to make sure we had your correct direction on what it is you wanted us to do. If you're ordering her to be present, then we'll bring her. And if that means we need to bring her involuntarily, if that's your request, we'll do that. I don't think that we just wanted to make sure that how we were bringing her was going to be acceptable to the court, and just getting your direction in terms of, and what your request was specifically.
All right. Thank you. I understand. That sounds reasonable. Well, how many other in custodies do we have on the calendar right now?
We just have one more in custody aside from Ms. Blackshaw.
All right. So why don't we take care of that person? Then you'll be able to clear the holding cell out, and then we'll take a recess, and we'll bring her up. We'll finish the calendar and probably take her last. How does that sound?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
Hallelujah. We've resolved it. The obvious resolution, we've arrived. We have arrived. Clear the courtroom, take care of everybody else first, then bring her in because she might throw a fit. Oh, and by the way, she does make it in.
Thank you. So let's keep going. Is this the other in custody? Great. All right.
After long debate, they finally agree on a plan. Clear the courtroom, handle other cases first, then bring her in last, just in case things get messy.
Here she is. Preemptive goat.
The presence of the defendant and her advisory council is here. We are here on case numbers 22209, 23005. This is the date and time for sentencing. Again, just for the record, your true and complete name is Shayna Marie Blackshire. Is that correct?
Can you please state your name for the record, ma'am? Okay, thank you.
Service is tonight.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Service for this is tonight.
Okay, I'm asking your name at this point. Is that your name, Shayna Marie Blackshire?
My name is Blackshire.
All right, thank you much. That court takes judicial notice that it is the presence of the defendant. The defendant is present. This is the date and time set for sentencing. The court, the jury has returned verdicts in this case. The jury verdicts are that the defendant is guilty in CR 22209 of count 1, unlawful flight from a law enforcement vehicle. It's a class 5 felony. It is in violation of ARS 28624C, 28622.01, A1, 22624C, 283,001, 3304, 3305, 3315, and ARS 13701-702, and ARS 13801. The date of that offense was on or about February 5th, 2022. The verdict of the jury that she's guilty of count 3 of the information, that's criminal damage. It's a class 1 misdemeanor. It's in violation of ARS 131602A1, 131601, 13707, and 13802. The date of the offense was on or about February 5th, 2022. Count 4, the jury's verdict was guilty as to count 4, burglary in the second degree. It's a class 3 felony. It's in violation of ARS 13-1507A, 1501, 701, 702, and 801. The date of the offense was on or about February 5th, 2022. Jury's verdict was guilty as to count 5, resisting arrest, a Class 6 felony. It's in violation of ARS 13-2508A1 and 13-701, 702, and 801. The date of the offense was on or about February 5th, 2023, or 2023. All right. The offenses are non-dangerous, and I'm going to reserve ruling on whether or not they are priors and repetitive until I hear the arguments from the state. I reviewed the pre-sentence report and its recommendations, and obviously I also presided over the trial. And I noticed that there are three, at least I think three of the victims are present, right? 2, 3? Only one. Okay. I got my reading glasses on, so I can't see that. One of the victims is present, and if the victim wishes, that offense wishes to be heard, she'll be given an opportunity to do so. Let me hear first from the state. Would that be you, Ms. Hunley, or Mr. Wagner?
I'm prepared to go forward if Ms.
Wagner,
Hunley is not, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Wagner.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think it should be noted, first of all, in the pre-sentence report, I think I have an obligation to correct the pre-sentence report.
Immediately, she starts arguing and refuses to cooperate. Tension rises as everyone watches what she'll do next.
The prison range for each of the offenses listed is the correct prison range, considering that the defendant is a Category 2 repetitive offender. We proved the prior felony conviction in a bifurcated hearing with the jury, that she had a historical prior felony conviction, thus making her eligible for sentencing in the Category 2 repetitive offender range. Those numbers are listed correctly in all of the tables that are listed under the offenses. However, I would note for the record that the jury, during the bifurcated part of the trial, also found that the defendant was on felony pretrial release at the same time as the offense. The state also filed an allegation to such an effect. That allegation, pursuant to 13708D, enhances any sentence given to the defendant by an additional 2 years. So each of the numbers in each of the tables that are listed should be elevated 2 years, just so the court's aware of that going in, because of the allegation and the proving that the defendant was on pretrial release at the time of this case.
All right, hold on.
I got this. Relax. Don't grab me. Don't grab me. We won't grab you. Just behave. Just comply and we won't.
You all right?
Right. I have special rights.
All right, no.
She wants to leave.
I want to go back in the holding cell because the situation here is not right.
All right, no one's touching you. No one's laying a hand on you. As long as you just stand there and listen and
I hear you, but what's being said is not correct.
Well, then you'll have an opportunity to clarify that and argue that it should be clarified and corrected.
And I disagree. So I just want to leave. I have no business here other than being threatened here, and that's not fair. If I say I do not want any participation, I have special rights that should be respected, and I shouldn't be here. If I'm here by force and because individuals are threatening me to be here, that's definitely not fair.
No one's laying a hand.
Karen has special rights. That's perfect.
Hand on you. No one's threatening you. You're like
I was threatened to come in here, yes. It was stated that if I do not come in here, physical force will be applied. That is against the law.
Well, here you are. Here you are, and there's been no physical force whatsoever.
They just physically touched me. 3 of them. I'm uncomfortable. I do not want to be in here. I disagree with what's being said and how it's being done. The courts lack jurisdiction over the subject matter.
Your excuse.
Oh, here we go.
We're going to vacate the hearing. Esmeralda Veronica Villegas, 22078.
Special rights and doesn't consent. Says the court has no jurisdiction and she shouldn't be there. But the judge moves forward anyway. Sentencing cannot be avoided.